There's a house at the edge of town no one talks about anymore. It's not boarded up or burned down. In fact, it looks perfect. Too perfect. When I first moved into East Hollow, I was a freelance journalist, chasing local legends for a blog that barely paid rent. I had written about haunted bridges, cursed lighthouses, and old asylum ruins. But this house, this was different. I heard about it from the town librarian, an older woman with trembling hands who whispered even in empty rooms. "Don't go near 112 Crow's End Lane," she said. "It remembers voices." Voices? I was intrigued. More than intrigued. The place was famous decades ago, though all mentions had been purged from the internet. Not archived, not redacted, purged, as if someone didn't want it remembered. Naturally, I decided to find it. It wasn't hard. The house was pristine. White paint, black shutters, red door. Like a postcard. Too clean for a property supposedly abandoned since 1992. But it was the silence that struck me most. No birds, no rustling wind. Even the air felt heavier near it. I walked up to the porch. Each step made no sound, and when I touched the doorknob, it turned. Unlocked. Inside was dustless. Furniture wrapped in plastic. A fireplace set with unburnt logs. It was like someone left 15 minutes ago and never returned. On the mantel I saw family portraits, faces smiling but off, eyes that didn't reflect light. One photo was cracked perfectly down the center, slicing the mother's face in half. I knew I shouldn't stay long. Just snap some photos, get a feel for the energy, and leave. But curiosity always overrides instinct in people like me. I found the basement door halfway down the hall. Closed, not locked. When I opened it, cold air rushed up, so cold I could see my breath in June. The basement was unfinished. Bare cement, wooden beams, old furniture. But something pulled me to the far wall where I saw what looked like scratch marks. Not animal scratches, fingernail scratches. There were dozens, some deep enough to chip concrete. And above them, scrawled in a child's handwriting, "It whispers when the lights go out." Chills ran up my spine. I turned and left. That should have been it. But the moment I stepped outside, I realized something was wrong. The sky wasn't the same color. It looked darker, more copper than blue. The road back to town seemed longer. Trees I hadn't seen before now lined the sidewalk. I checked my phone, no signal. I sprinted down the street, and to my relief, my car was still parked in the same spot. I drove straight home, promising never to return. That night I couldn't sleep. At exactly 3:17 a.m., I heard it. A whisper. It wasn't in my head. It wasn't through the walls. It came from my phone. My phone was off. Dead battery. But I swear I heard a voice whisper from its speaker. "Why did you leave?" I jumped out of bed, turned on every light in the apartment, and didn't sleep a second. The next day I wrote it off. Maybe I was dreaming. Maybe it was residual fear. But that evening I found something that shattered that excuse. On my kitchen table was a photograph. One I hadn't taken. It was me, standing in the hallway of 112 Crow's End Lane. Only I never took a photo inside, and I was facing the camera, as if someone was standing directly in front of me. I threw the photo away. Then I burned it. Then I deleted the folder on my camera. But more photos kept showing up. One in my sock drawer, one taped under my coffee mug, one slipped between the pages of my notebook. Each one closer than the last. Each one with me in frame, until the final one. It was taken from inside my bedroom. The angle was from the corner high, as if a tall figure was watching from the shadows. And in the corner of the photo, barely visible, was something else. A silhouette, long limbs, no face, just void where the head should be. I moved out that night. Drove 2 states over, stayed in a hotel, and for 2 weeks, nothing happened. I started to relax. Maybe it was over. Maybe I had just brought something home that didn't follow. Then I got an email. No sender, no subject. Just an attachment. A video. It was only 15 seconds. Darkness. Then faint whispering. Then my voice saying, "Who's there?" Then a louder voice, something guttural, wet and broken. "You brought me with you." I screamed and dropped the phone. I was done running. I needed answers. I went back to East Hollow. This time I went straight to the town archives. Found in a sealed basement, beneath City Hall. The clerk, a pale man who barely looked up, let me in with hesitation. What I found confirmed my worst fears. In 1992, 5 families disappeared from 112 Crow's End Lane, all in a single night. The only thing left behind was a diary from one of the children, a girl named Sarah, age 9. The last entry said, It doesn't like to be ignored. When we stopped listening, it made Daddy go away. The police had searched the house. No signs of struggle, no fingerprints, no leads, just vanished. After that, the house was sold multiple times. Each new owner lasted less time than the last. Some went mad. Some disappeared. One nailed all the windows shut and starved to death inside. Another walked into the woods and was never found. And me? I had brought something back with me. The house doesn't trap you by locking doors. It lures you out, sends itself home with you like a parasite. At this point, I was desperate. I contacted an exorcist, a woman named Mara with a reputation for the impossible. When I showed her the photos, the video, and told her about the whispers, she went pale. "You didn't bring back a spirit," she said. "You brought back the house." That made no sense. She explained, "Some places aren't just haunted. They're alive. Their walls remember pain. Their floors soak up sorrow. And sometimes if you go deep enough, they follow you. Like a stain on your soul." She offered to perform a ritual, but warned it may not work. I didn't care. We set up candles, salt, sigils, and recited ancient phrases that made my ears bleed. For an hour, nothing. Then all the lights blew out. The walls of the motel started to whisper. Not in English. In something older. Something wrong. Mara began to convulse. Blood trickled from her eyes. She screamed a name I didn't recognize. Drevelin! Then fell silent. I held her for over an hour. She never woke up. I left her body at a hospital anonymously. I had no answers, no plan. Only one choice left. I had to go back to the house. I returned one final time. The sky darkened the moment I crossed the threshold. The house remembered me. I walked inside and called out, "I'm here." Silence. Then the floor groaned. Then footsteps above me. I walked up the stairs. Each step echoed like a drumbeat. At the end of the hall was a door that hadn't been opened before. Inside was a child's room. Pink walls, a broken crib, and drawings. Dozens of them. All of the same figure. Tall, faceless. Arms stretched wide like it was always ready to embrace you. In the center of the room, lying on the floor, was a mirror. I looked in, and I saw myself, but not me. This version was smiling, eyes black, hands dripping. Behind him, behind me, was the silhouette. Then the mirror cracked. Whispers filled the air. "Stay." I closed my eyes and screamed, "What do you want?" The answer came soft, from everywhere and nowhere. "Home." I understood then. It wasn't a ghost, or a demon. It was loneliness, rot, emptiness in form. And it didn't want me dead. It wanted me to become it, to live in the house forever. I ran. The walls bent. The floors twisted. Doors melted shut and reopened. But I made it out. And now, I live on the road. Never stay in one place too long. But even now, every night I hear it. In the dark corners of hotel rooms. In the static of phone calls. In the reflection of mirrors. It whispers. And one day, I know it'll find another home. Another curious soul. And the house will open its red door again.